Hey everybody, Kyle here with Spicer Designs. Welcome back to the channel. Pulled the old switcheroo on you. Haven't done that in a while. So what we have here is my new 2024 Bobcat E35 R2 series. Just to be clear, I am not affiliated with Bobcat. I wish I was, because this thing cost me a lot of money. And here we have my 2023, I believe, Cimarron XH26D. Now the Bobcat is a 3.5 ton machine weighing in just over 8,000 pounds. And I picked this thing up from Bobcat of Davies County, located in Washington, Indiana, which is only about 30 minutes away from my house. I don't have to deal with road noise here. Son of a b****. And the XH26D is a 2.6 ton machine weighing in right around 5,500 pounds. And I picked this up from K&R Equipment in Muskogee, Oklahoma. And that is about 10 hours away from my house, which was a big factor on why I purchased the Bobcat versus another Cimarron. So in today's video, we're going to address all the questions as to why I needed a bigger machine, why I chose to get name brand versus another Cimarron or Chinese excavator, and we're going to talk about costs, a little bit of comparisons. Now we can't really compare these two machines because they're two totally different sizes, but we are going to talk about some of the features between the two and the quality aspect of it. This is one thing I wasn't a fan of already, is getting in and out of this thing. It is definitely designed by a small Chinese man or child. Now, the Cimarron XH26D did a great job for me. I've had no issues with this machine. It's done everything I needed it to do. I just needed a larger machine. I needed something with more reach, more weight, and after having the open station, I decided that I really enjoy having a cab. I have a cab on my Coyote CK2610, which is a compact tractor, so I understand the benefits of having one. And realizing the value and how much use I have of an excavator on the property, I really wanted to upgrade to a cab on the excavator. But the main reason was reach. The reach was really holding me up on a lot of jobs, so that was the driving factor of the decision to get a larger machine. I'm slender, and it's honestly a challenge getting in and out of this thing, especially if you're due for a hip replacement, which I'm not, but you might be, I don't know. Now this, quite easy to get into. Lots of room. And I gotta say, holy shit, the freaking cab is awesome. Obviously, getting a bigger machine, you would expect to have more room in the operator station, and that it does, along with many other features that I did not have in the Cimarron. Not that they don't offer them, just I didn't have them in the XH26D. So lots of upgrades for me personally here. But we're not going to go over all the specs and details of all the creature comforts of these things. I want to talk about the more general differences between the two. So the first question I want to address is why I needed a larger machine. What can the new Bobcat E35 do that the Cimarron XH26 can't? And again, I don't want to compare these two machines because they are totally different sizes. Cimarron does offer an XH42D that is pretty damn comparable to the Bobcat E35 semis. But the main reason, like I said, is reach. And there's no better way to explain this than to just show you. All right, I have both machines running. I've got the blade perfectly in line. I mean, well, I guess maybe they're not. Let me move it. Hard to get used to this thing again. That looks pretty damn close. Oh, damn it. All right, that's pretty damn close. So I'm going to go ahead and extend both of these out to their furthest reach. I have the blades lined up. So we're not actually measuring from the center of the turrets there. I want to see from the front of the blade. So if you come up to, like, say, a pond shoreline, put your blade down, I want to see how far out into the pond that I can reach. All right, Cimarron. All right, that is full extension on the Cimarron. Go Bobcat E35. Oh, it's nice and cool in here. I'll tell you right now, the controls on this Bobcat are insanely smooth. Just pull a measurement here from the front of the blade. So from the front of the blade to the tip of the bucket, we are at 116 inches, just under 10 foot. Just under 10 foot. And the Bobcat, 153 inches, 3 inches shy of 13 foot. I have 3 foot of extra reach on the Bobcat versus the Cimarron. Now, the length of the blade and the larger tracks and all that definitely take a lot away from the Bobcat, So I'm gonna turn these and get the reach over the track as well. All right, I rearrange these so that we're getting the reach over the side of the track, because this is a likely situation where you might be digging over the side of your track. I wouldn't recommend digging like that, but if you needed to reach for something. So I think we'll see a significant difference here. So remember, over the blade was 3 foot of extra reach over the track. So here we are at 11 foot 2. I don't know why I didn't say feet. What the hell's wrong with me? 11 foot 2. Uh-oh. 14 foot 10. So about 3 foot 8 inches longer reach over the track of the Bobcat versus the Cimarron. The damn parade going on. Now 3.5 foot doesn't seem like a whole lot of extra reach, but it really is. I've already noticed it's a significant difference. It really helps out with digging out the shoreline of the pond, which is something that I've been working on off camera. That was one of the main projects I needed the extra reach for. Not to mention, you can do a whole lot more from being in one location. Being able to pivot from one side to the other actually gives you an extra 6 to 7 extra feet. So 3.5 foot is helpful. I mean, hell, I'd be happy with an extra inch. You know what I'm talking about. All right, now let's actually demonstrate the reach. So here is my shop. The house is further down that way in the woods. We'll do a 180 here. You've got the road out that way, which is generating all that noise, which I love. And you can see this is the front section of my woods. Now this might be hard to tell, but as I walk closer here, there is a pretty significant drop off right there. Maybe hard to tell with the shadows. There is a nice little ravine going through there, and that is probably close to 40 foot down from where I'm standing. Now all along here, it is almost completely vertical. I know it's really deceiving on the camera, but there's a bunch of junk in here. There was a stump that actually fell down on its own. There's a bunch of branches and just crap that I'd like to be able to get in here and pull this stuff out, clean it up, because I actually have some plans for this little area here in the future, and I just could not do it with the Cimarron. Let me demonstrate. Pull into this space right here as comfortably as I can, because that's quite a drop off. I'm not trying to go over it. I can kind of, I could reach down the hill a little bit. There's a piece of a fence right here. See if I can grab that. My thumb, foot pedal thumb. Now there is a couple of branches right down there that I really want to get, and I can't. I mean, it's one thing to be able to reach out and touch them. It's another thing to be able to actually, man, this thing, it is jerkier than I remember. I think I really got used to the Bobcat. That thing is freaking smooth. Holy shit. Wow. I'm struggling here. I feel like, I'm just getting started in this thing. Like wobbling all over the place. Alright, so you can see I have limited reach here, and it don't look like I know what I'm doing on this thing right now. Alright, let's try the Bobcat. I'm coming. First off, I grab this. Now, I don't know if it's easy for you guys to tell, but it sure is for me. But the Bobcat is a lot smoother than the Cimarron. I wasn't expecting it to be that much of a difference, but it definitely is. And you could probably tell the movements on this are like butter. I mean, it literally makes you feel like you're a legit operator. So that branch down there, I want to make sure that I go to the same place that I did the Cimarron, somewhere right here, because I flattened out. Yeah, somewhere right there. Alright, there's a branch way down there, and oh man, I'm literally just able to grab it. which is great. I mean, I can reach quite a ways down there, which is, and I'm sitting higher so I could see down there further too. There's still a couple more branches I can't quite reach. I think the machine I would need to get them, I don't have that kind of money. I think you get the point. All right, so that's the gist of why I need a larger machine. Mainly for the reach. I wanted the cab, more weight, and the ability to run some different attachments like maybe a little brush hog for it or a flail mower. With the larger machine, I'm gonna have a higher flow, better hydraulics. All right, now I wanna jump into some of the different features that you would get on a Chinese machine versus a name brand machine and how that affected my decision. Tanker truck, concrete truck, and then we can sum it all up as to why I went ahead and purchased the Bobcat versus another Cimarron. All right, I want to be very clear on something. When we're referring to the Cimarron, this is going to cover basically all Chinese excavators. It's nothing against Cimarron at all. As a matter of fact, Cimarron does a much better job getting these machines, having parts availability, having someone that can actually answer the phone and help you out with issues, and upgrading their drive pumps and their hydraulic pumps so that if they ever needed to be changed out, you could use a name brand pump or drive to swap them out, which is something that all those auction machines, they don't offer that. Once you buy them, it's as is, you're done. These actually come with a warranty, and I believe Ron from K&R Equipment actually increased the warranty now to a 2-year, and on their Z models, I believe it's a 3-year. Again, you're not gonna get that with the other auction machines, but I wanna talk about a couple of features that I'm not a big fan of here that this one kind of excelled in. My biggest complaint is the thumb. On this particular model and most Chinese models, the thumb placement, in my opinion, is wrong. You could see it's about 6 or 7 inches higher than the bucket pivot point. So basically, the bucket pivot point and the thumb pivot point are different, so they don't really mate up quite right. And if you decide to get the quick coupler on it, which I have, that adds about another 8 inches of length to the bucket. So it just throws that mating point off even more. Also, the thumbs on these, pretty beefy, but you can see this one is bent. Didn't take much. There's a lot of meat hanging out here, a lot of leverage, pretty vulnerable to getting bent. Over to the Bobcat, you can see that the pivot point on the thumb and the bucket, they actually share the same pivot pin. That is the way it should be. No matter which way you angle that bucket, the thumb and the tip of the bucket are always gonna mate up perfectly. And you can look at the thumb, it is freaking thick. I mean, that's got some girth to it right there. So I don't see any way that I'll be bending that thumb in the future. So right here, I've got a small little piece of firewood. It's about 2.5 inches in diameter. This would be pretty common size of something that you'd want to pick up off the ground. I'm going to set this right there in the ideal spot. Let's see if we can grab this thing. There we go. Just had to dig into the ground a little bit, but I got it. All right, try moving it a little bit closer. Try it right there. Thing is jerky. Okay, that's not even possible right there. There we go. Oh. Wait a minute. I got it, and a bunch of gravel. It's got jerky. All right, let's try to try to move it a little further away. Get her out there. Son of a... Okay, so you're going to end up doing a little digging in the dirt if you want to pick something up with the thumb here. It might not be as bad if you don't have the quick coupler. Go ahead and use it over there now. All right, now we're going to try it right here. Uh-oh. That was my fault. All right, and there we go. So easy. Look at that. I mean, would you just look at it? Just look at it! Okay, let's bring her in a little bit. Now, the thumb is fully extended right here. But let's see if we can just get right in there without disturbing the gravel too much. There we go. Okay. Let's set it out here. Alright, we're gonna and there we go. So you can see a clear difference. The mating point between the tip of the teeth and the tip of the thumb makes all the difference in the world. It really does. Now, I would have to say most people probably agree. The thumb feature on a mini excavator is probably one of the main reasons you want one. Without that thumb on there, this thing loses half of its capabilities on my property. Most of the things that I'm doing on my property are going to involve using that thumb. So if it doesn't work properly or efficiently, it is a problem. Now, I will say that there are some Chinese models, Qimron as well, that are starting to offer the thumb with the right pivot point. Looks like it's on some of their larger machines and some of their really small machines, but I haven't seen it yet on their in-between machines. Next thing here you're gonna find on the Chinese machines, they actually did a pretty nice job hard piping these. Now for the quick coupler, that is kind of an aftermarket thing that they throw on. They just kind of tie wrap them on to the hard pipe. It'd be nice if that was all hard piped in there with it. And I have cleaned up these hydraulic lines the best that I can with tie wraps and rerouting some of them. But you can see the hydraulic lines on the stick here are kind of a mess. And this is after I tidied them up. And right here, there is a connection. You can see inside there, there's a fitting. I actually had to add a fitting that was another 3/4 of an inch because this was actually loose when I got it. The 90 right here was running into the side of the quick hitch and it wouldn't allow it to tighten all the way. So you can see right here, it's only a 1/4 of an inch gap in between there, and I added like a 3/4 inch long fitting there. So I'm not sure how they're doing that, but they've got to be having leaks. I don't know. Look at the Bobcat here. All the lines are hard lined in there, even the quick coupler, because this does have a hydraulic exchange, the quick coupler feature. And you can see all of the hydraulic lines are all nice and tidy. You don't see anything on the side of the stick here, and the quick coupler lines go right down inside, nice and clean. They're all looped in there so it can turn and move without getting in a bind. Very clean setup, which I like. And they have another feature here that I really like. This is a 3-way diverter. So you have your quick connects right here, ready to go for any other attachments, and it gives you the ability to leave your thumb hooked up. All you have to do is just turn these valves, and then you'll now have flow to these auxiliary ports. Getting back to the thumb, this thing has a foot pedal for the thumb control, and also when you rock it side to side, that is what controls your boom swing cylinder. So sometimes when you're pressing that thumb, the boom will start swinging over on you as well. And this doesn't fit my boot in it. So when you're using this, you're already kind of at an angle. So as you're pressing forward, it's natural with those little lips on it that you're actually going to probably end up moving the boom. Now I know that they have 2 foot pedals in some of their other models, but this XH26D, it's all in one. Not a big fan of that. The other thing is there are no foot pedals for your track controls, so you're doing everything by hand, which isn't a big deal. But I have noticed in the Bobcat, being that I do have the foot pedals now, which you can fold out of the way, which is nice. Now that I have the foot pedals, I can actually run the foot pedals and I can still use the controls, so I'm actually moving and doing different functions at the same time, which I've kind of had to relearn, but I really like having that ability to be able to do that. Now, one of the other main points that I wanted to talk about was the hydraulics and the smoothness. Now, this is something that I didn't even realize until I started operating the Bobcat. The Kimrons are already smoother than your auction machines. They do upgrade their spool valves, and I actually felt like I was getting pretty decent on the Kimron. I felt like I could run that machine pretty smooth. I was gonna do kind of a whole demonstration on it, but with the couple of things that we just did here, I think it's pretty easy to see that the Bobcat is way smoother. It is like night and day. I didn't even realize it was going to be that big of a difference, so it just made purchasing this machine that much more justified in my opinion. After learning on the Chinese excavator and getting fairly smooth at it, hopping in the Bobcat, I feel like a freaking legit operator. Like, it's just buttery smooth. I have such control of everything that I'm doing. There's no fast jerky movements. It's not bouncing all around. That is where you're spending the extra money. It's like a fucking police baton. Hell yeah. I'm gonna start carrying this when I go to Walmart. There's always a salamander hanging out underneath this thing. Or a snake. Where's he at? Leave me? Holy sh! Are you freaking kidding me right now? Look at the freaking size of this spider and all the babies on its back. Freaking gross. That was a fun little distraction. Alright, I think this video's big rig. I think this video is probably getting kind of long, but I want to give you all this information because it might help you with your decision. But I want to sum this up. Why I decided to pull the trigger on a name brand machine, which was much more expensive. Or was it? All right, let's get down to brass tacks here. As far as price goes, the Kimron XH26D, that exact machine, is going to run you right around $30,000, $29,900, and I'm not sure if that includes the hydraulic quick coupler, but they do have all that information on their website. I'll leave links and information for the Kimron stuff and Bobcat as well down in the description. Now the XH42D Kimron, which is comparable to the Bobcat E35, that machine would have ran me $39,900 before tax. We're not going to include tax in any of this. Taxes. Now the Bobcat E35, brand new with a 24-inch digging bucket, full heated and cooled cab, hydraulic thumb, hydraulic exchange, the quick coupler. I paid $55,900 for that machine. Maybe you thought it was more money, maybe you thought it was less. To me, I don't think that's all that bad of a price for that machine with all those features. Not to mention, you have guaranteed resale value with the Bobcat. Kimron, they've been around since 2022. Not that they're not gonna have good resale value, I just don't know what it is. The other benefit, Bobcat of Davies County, great dealer to work with, highly recommended. Actually, they told me that if you are interested in a Bobcat, if you call them and mention Spicer Designs, they will give you some kind of a discount or help you out in whatever way they can. Something additional to maybe your local Bobcat dealer would do. So definitely give them a call and try it out. Again, I'm not affiliated with them. I wish. Dude, I want lunch. Where was I going with this? Now with the Bobcat, you're getting that dealer support. This dealer's only 30 minutes away from my house. They've already went above and beyond for me, delivering buckets to my house, swapping them out. When I call, they answer, and they are ready to help me, which is awesome. That definitely did save me some time, because I got to get a bunch of cable blocks, and I'd be laying
This before you ever need anything. I literally drive past here every single. Plus, this is the only thing we can do differently.
Yeah.
The service.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
this is the only thing we can do different than other people.
Yeah.
I throw it on a truck and deliver it to you, and that means more than.
Oh yeah. And it's very likely that you have a Bobcat dealer somewhere near you as well. Now Kimron, if I would have upgraded to the XH42D, I would have probably had to drive 10 hours to get it. I only have a half-ton pickup truck, so I would not be able to haul it with my pickup truck. If I had it shipped, it would have probably cost me another $3,000 to $4,000 to have it shipped. Now pushing that price somewhere in the $43,000 to $44,000 range. Now they are expanding with dealerships. I believe they're up to like 4 or 5 dealers now. Each dealer is different in what they offer. You may be able to buy a machine from them. They'll be able to get you the parts that you need, but I don't know if they necessarily all have techs that'll actually work on your Kimron. Now I'm using Kimron just because I have a Kimron. This is relating to all Chinese excavators. Now, in my opinion, spending $40,000 on the XH42D Chinese excavator, not factoring any of the shipping or going to pick it up, I spent an extra $16,000 for the name brand Bobcat. There's a ridiculous amount of attachments made for the Bobcat, all kinds of different brands, smoother hydraulics, better thumb placement, thumb controls on the joystick versus a foot pedal. The resale value is great. The other big thing for me was going to a larger machine. If something catastrophic were to happen, I'm gonna need that dealer support. If I have a larger Chinese machine, who am I supposed to take this thing to? I'm able to work on a lot of stuff on my own in my shop, but I don't have the capability of removing large, heavy objects off this machine. If I had to pull that counterweight, if there was something wrong with that drive gear that spins the whole turret, I'm not gonna be able to handle that on a larger machine. Probably barely, maybe, with this one. So all those things combined contributed into why I spent the extra $16,000 to get a name brand Bobcat. Again, nothing against Kimron. They were absolutely great to work with. What they're doing with these machines, having that dealer support, is far better than you're gonna get with any other Chinese machines. Now, all these things depend on your personal needs too. What your budget is, how much property you have, how big your projects are. It may not make sense to buy a name brand machine, and something like the Kimron may be the perfect fit for you. So take my opinion with a grain of salt. You need to do what's best for you. Anyways, I hope this was helpful for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. All right, I think this video is fucking big rig.